We take you to Champaign right now. This is Barbara Wilson, the interim chancellor.
I'm going to make a brief statement and then we'll open it up for questions. And there's some noise up here, is that? This past May, when former student athletes in our women's basketball and our football programs raised complaints about their treatment, the campus initiated independent investigations into the allegations. We promised that these would be comprehensive, thorough, and transparent. And we, as a university, have been committed to taking any appropriate action based on the evidence and the findings. An investigation released in July into complaints of race bias and player mistreatment in the women's basketball program concluded that the evidence did not support those allegations. The final reports by the law firm Franzik Radelet of Chicago into allegations related to sports medicine and scholarship management in our football and women's basketball programs were released this morning. As you know, preliminary findings from these investigations led to the termination of former head football coach Tim Beckman on August 28th. With these investigations now complete, it is time to take stock, to figure out what we've learned through this process, and to boldly move forward. Our primary goal is to ensure that our student athletes have outstanding opportunities to excel in competition in their lives, here, now, and after they leave Illinois. In order to move forward, I believe that a change in leadership at the Division of Intercollegiate Athletics is necessary. I have exercised the without clause separation option in Director Mike Thomas's contract, and I've appointed Senior Associate Athletic Director Paul Kowalczyk to serve as Interim Director of DIA, pending board approval. I want to be clear. These reports found no misconduct by Director Mike Thomas and no violations of policies or standards. He has done a good job of leading DIA through recent challenges, and he is the one who actually requested the outside investigations. However, it's time to put the distractions of these past months behind us and to put the focus back on the success of our athletic programs. DIA has achieved much under Mike Thomas's leadership, including significant milestones in fundraising and steady improvements in the academic performance of our athletes. I'm grateful to Mike for the work he's done at Illinois. Paul Kowalczyk has been with the Illinois program since 2012. I'm confident his experience in as a Division I athletic director will help guide the program until a permanent hire is made. This has not been an easy decision, but I believe it's the one that allows all of us to concentrate on the future. My hope is that we can develop an aggressive and ambitious plan toward preeminence in all of our sports at Illinois. Thank you.
Barbara, who made this decision? Who did you consult with?
I consulted with many people, and in the end, I made the decision.
If you found no wrongdoing by Mr. Thomas, why are you dismissing him now? Why in tandem with the release of this report?
There have been distractions in the last several weeks or months, I would say, and it's just time for us to move forward.
Chancellor Wilson, how are you talking with Paul Kowalczyk about the appointment of a new football coach, knowing that there's only a couple of weeks left in the season, that you have an interim coach right?
We'll be in constant talk and work together, Paul and I. I have full confidence in his ability to move us forward, and we're not making any decisions right now about the about the football coach. We wouldn't do that until the end of the season, and we're very excited about last week's win.
Him full authority to hire a football coach and make that decision?
We haven't made any decisions about that. Paul's been in the job for about 3 hours, I think, right now. So.
Cost to do those investigations?
We have not calculated the total amount that we've spent at this point.
Do you have like a ballpark?
Not at this point, no.
I think that however much money was
Allegations been
justification for dismissing Mr. Thomas?
You know, I can't speculate on that. I have what I have at this point, and I used all the information to make a decision. So.
What role did President Killeen play in making the decision?
I'm sorry?
What role did President Killeen play?
Well, you know, I report to the president, so I'm in constant consultation with the president, as I am with many other people.
Does the board have an opportunity to weigh in?
I don't talk with the board directly, but I believe that the president does. So. I had a meeting with him last week, and we sat down and talked. He was very professional. I appreciate his professionalism immensely.
When did you receive the report, the finalized report?
The finalized report last week.
You said it's time to move forward, even though Mike did a good job. Why did you feel it was necessary to move forward?
We've just had lots of distractions. I feel like all of these issues have taken away from what we really care about, which is the success of our student athletes.
Why do you feel the distractions will go away under a new athletic director?
I'm very hopeful that we can take a step forward at this point.
Does that step include any kind of legal settlement involving the lawsuit?
I can't talk about any of the litigation right now. It's ongoing, and I can't speak about that.
Was there any thought to removing the distraction when Tim Beckman was removed by removing Mike Thomas at that same time?
I've just been taking in lots of information. As you know, I've been on the job for a little more than 2 months, and I'm every day taking in lots of information and making decisions at the appropriate time. So.
Is Paul a candidate for this job permanently, and how do you go about searching for the next AD here?
Well, again, we haven't really made final decisions about the future at this point in time, but of course anybody can be a candidate for the future position. So.
Ms. Wilson, what would you say to reassure the community overall that the university administration is not in complete disarray?
Well, as I've said to many of our friends, stakeholders, alumni, and others, this is a great university. We have 150 years of preeminence that we are celebrating all the time. The greatness of this institution is not in Swanland, and it's not in the highest levels of leadership. Deans, provosts, and even presidents, certainly chancellors come and go. The work of this institution is happening in the classrooms and in the studios and in the labs. Students are coming here to work with the best faculty, and our student athletes are coming here to be part of this great institution. So I want to reassure you and all of our fans and our stakeholders that this is a great institution.
Now that this investigation has been released, are you confident in saying investigations are done, we are done, and there's nothing else to look into?
At this point, that is my feeling, yes.
Does that, how do you say at this point? Does that mean that?
Well, I don't have any plans to do any other investigations at this point, so.
How important is athletics for the university as a whole?
You know, athletics to me is like the front porch of the university. And it's important that we have a great athletic program, not only for our student athletes, but also for our fans and for our alumni. I come from the University of Wisconsin, and so I think a lot about athletics. And I think we owe it to our student athletes and to this great university to make sure that athletics is on the best foot it can be going forward. He has great experience. He's been an athletic director in a Division I context, and he's the right person for the time, just like I think the president felt like I was the right person for the time. So,
in your opinion, do you feel you could hire a football coach and an AD and/or without having a permanent chancellor in place?
You know, it's not my opinion that matters, but all of those things are premature at this point. We really haven't talked about the future of any of these positions in great detail right now.
Talking about those, I mean, you've only got 3 games left in the football season.
And we won't make any decisions about the coach until the season is over. I'm delighted in the game last weekend. I hope you all are too. I think Coach Cubitt is doing a great job.
Have you thought any more about being permanent chancellor?
Oh, Lauren. I've announced that I'm not interested in the position, and that is what I'm saying at this point in time.
What does this change of athletic director mean for all the other coaches in the other programs?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
What does this change in the athletic director position mean for a lot of the other coaches in other programs?
I don't think it means anything. I will be meeting with the coaches tomorrow. I hope that they will continue to have full confidence in athletics at Illinois. They're doing a great job. We're excited about all of our sports, and we'll reassure them, hopefully.
the kind of the legacy of Illinois going back 150 years. How serious a threat is what's happened since May?
Well, if you look, our U.S. News and World Report rankings went up this year. We had the second largest freshman class this year in our history. In fact, the only time we've had more applicants for freshman class is the year after the Final Four in basketball. We've hired 120 new faculty from all across the country and all across the world. So, if I look at what's happening in Illinois, it's all good. We would really like a state budget, so that is a little bit of a challenge for us right now. But if you go out onto this campus, you'll see the excellence that I see every day.
Money, what's the buyout that you're going to pay?
The buyout for Mike Thomas is $2.5 million. That was in his contract. That will come out of athletic funding. It will not come out of academic money, state funding, or tuition. It will come out of the athletic budget, which is entirely separate and consists mostly of ticket sales and media rights, things like that.
Mitigation clause.
A mitigation clause. I don't think so, no. Mm-mm.
I know Forensic Rattle was also doing the investigation into the medical issues in women's basketball. Is that complete? The medical portion? I know the other investigation was, but is the medical portion complete?
Yes, that was released today too. So
those investigations, that was not paid for with DIA money, though. That was with university money.
That's a good question. DIA money. I really love my team here.
So the money for these investigations was paid for with DIA?
Correct.
Concerned at all with the amount of money that's been spent for buying athletic director Mike Thomas's contract and other coaches in the last couple of years and the money that's spent on this?
I'm always concerned about spending money, but I feel like this is the right thing to do at this point in time. Athletics has budgets that are very different than the academic budgets, so I'm learning quickly about how athletics works.
What could Mr. Thomas have done differently to keep his job?
I don't think I'd like to speculate on that. We are where we are, and we're moving forward.
Did you broach the idea of him stepping down, or did he kind of...
No, I did, and he was very gracious about it. I can honestly say he was as professional as anybody could be under the circumstances.
How long has this been on your mind, thinking about this?
I would say, since I took this position, I've been thinking hard about athletics. They were issues that came to me right away, and so I've been weighing all the information, looking at all of the preliminary reports and the recent reports, so it's been on my mind for a while.
Anything in the final report that you looked at and thought, this is it, that we've got to make this decision?
No. I think it's taking all of the information into account. We just need to move forward.
Would you recommend him for another job, another job?
I can't speculate about that. That's not my role at this point. He's done a great job here under a challenging circumstance, and I'm very grateful to what he's done for us, and really grateful for the way that he's really gracefully stepped out of this position.
Are there any other changes that need to be made?
That I won't be making any further decisions about athletic personnel. I'll leave that to Paul. So.
Was this decision made up in your mind prior to the release of this information?
No. Mm-mm.
How concerned are you that the university has an interim chancellor, an interim athletic director, and an interim football coach?
I'm not that concerned because for me the interim is an adjective. I'm acting like a chancellor. I am a chancellor. I'm in that role. I make decisions that are appropriate for the time and the place. It would be a really bad situation if all of us sat in a holding pattern and pretended that we weren't the leaders that we are. We've been asked to step up, and we're stepping up, as you can see.
Other than the new procedures that the DIA has already established with regard to student-athlete feedback, do you have any further plans, especially with the resignation of the University of Missouri's president today, about student-athlete feedback with regards to coaches, things like that?
We've put into place a lot of changes already that I think Paul probably could talk about even better than me. I get weekly reports from Paul about things we're doing in athletics to ensure student-athlete welfare, and I feel very good about that. So, I don't know. Paul, do you want to add anything to that? Is that appropriate at this point? Maybe not.
Are there any final questions for the Chancellor? You mentioned distractions. What was the big distraction throughout all this?
I think you've read the reports. You know what the distractions are.
Have there any attempts by the university that you were aware of to reach out to some of the players that brought these allegations to light, specifically with the football program?
I can't speak about the litigation efforts. Sorry.
Do answer. Thank you very much. Paul, would you like to, any questions for Paul Walczyk here before we...
Thank you all for your support. Thanks.
Yes.